Very good morning to Doug Barron on the same time zone as me, 9 a.m. Tell me where you are, Doug. What's happening?
I am in my house in South Carolina right now and just enjoying a couple of days off before I get back into the tunnel and start training again.
All right, all right. And so, are you training with Four Way? Is it the rebuild of the team?
Yep. So we have done 4 days of jumping and 4 days of tunnel thus far with the new lineup. And we are about to get it back in the tunnel for another like 8 days or something. And just continue to move forward. So yeah, it's the new rhythm lineup and we are super excited.
Is it the same team name? Does it change a little bit? What?
Nope, it'll be the same team name, SDC Rhythm XP.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. There it is. There it is. What a team as well. I mean, nobody can forget. Well, first of all, seeing you at the Wing Games after your accident.
Oh yeah.
In the February of 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
When I saw you at the Wing Games, I'll come back to that in a minute. But then taking the Nationals and winning the Nationals in 2019, the USPA Nationals. What a result for the team. Where do we start? Let's can we talk a little bit about your injury first? Can we
Sure.
talk about that? Do you want to tell people what happened, though?
Yeah. So I had an AAD activation while I was landing and caused a 2-out scenario, and essentially both canopies stalled, and I fell onto asphalt, kind of destroyed my right tibia, broke my left heel in half, and broke my back.
You were in a bad way, man. It was for most people that would have been them out of the sport, and it wasn't. I mean, how did you get back to flying health? Tell us about how you recuperated from that.
Yeah. So I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks, and then I was in a rehabilitation center for another 2 weeks after that. Wheelchair through the end of July, I believe. I don't really remember. I think it was July, end of July. And rehab was just, I knew that I wanted to jump again. So that kept me motivated, as well as, the community in general. They reached out a lot and that helped. And then my team, just like you said, like any other professional team at any point, like you have a catastrophic injury like that, and you're pretty much done. You're written off. But my team was very supportive, and they filled the slot just for the year to stay competing. But they were totally on board with like me coming back, and that was a big part of it as well. Like that helped to keep me motivated. And it really was just, you push and go through your PT and do all that stuff. And like some days you push too hard and then you couldn't really move the next day, and then you take a break and then you just do it again. And that's kind of how it happens, you just got to do it.
Well, the February afterwards, I was commentating at Wing Games in Pure Brava, Spain, and I saw you outside the tunnel, and you were moving like somebody who's been injured, and then in the airflow. Wow. I mean, I think I actually said live on the commentary, I can't believe what you're doing. The moves you were making, and you wouldn't have thought there'd been any injury at all. It was incredible to see.
Yeah, that competition was pretty special for us. And actually Pete Allen made a comment too, like our entrances and the way we had to line up in the door, we had to change because I couldn't stand on one leg at that point. So I was always like in the door or standing on both feet. And it's definitely not the most efficient way to do it. And I remember him saying something, and then later on in the day or the next day, we talked to him about it, and he was like, oh, it's because like, yeah, essentially they were again kind of working around me and what I was able to do. But yeah, once I got in the wind, it just felt normal and at home, as long as I didn't get hit or anything. But it was good. It was good to come back, and have a competition like that.
And then taking that Nationals win, I mean, that was the goal of the team, wasn't it? When it was first set up, that's what they wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And to be there to do that must have been, I mean, just to win the Nationals anyway, and to beat airspeed is one thing, but to come back like you did and win it must be quite a high peak of your career.
Yeah, it really was. And Going into nationals, our expectation was just to get back to close to our scoring average before I got hurt in 2017. Like we didn't really have sights set on winning. I mean, realistically, we had done 200 jumps as a team that year, so like the least amount since I was on the team. But it was just a very cohesive environment, and I think I mean, everybody just felt great, and yeah, it was like one of the best. It was probably the best competition we've ever had, and to do it and win in a jump off was even better. So yeah, it was one of those things, like, you know, that in sports psychology they talk about like flow and like a state of just competing and going and doing. And that's just how we felt the whole time. Ever since we got to the drop zone before competition, we just felt together. It was awesome.
In the air during the jumps, could you feel there was, you know, from my experience with four-way, you just know when it feels like you're giving it, you're bringing your best to the table.
Yeah, it almost slows down.
Yes.
Like the jumps feel like they go on forever. And that's how it felt. Like everybody felt great, and there was a lot of good energy in the jumps. And yeah, it was just very, very together, like the culmination of all the things that everybody trains for. It was just there. Yeah. So
brilliant. So your new lineup, do you want to talk about your new lineup a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So the new lineup is Carl Kalgren, Keith Connor, Chris Webb, and then Charlie McGee is going to be on video. It took a couple of months. Like I went through a couple of different tryouts, tried out a bunch of people, and everybody's in new slots, which is super exciting. And we're ready for the long term. So that's the big thing. You know, like I wanted to have the right people with the right mindset and the same goals and values. So we talked a lot about that, and that everybody's in it for the long term, because we know to get to achieve the goals that we would like. I mean, it's not overnight or even in a year. So we're excited for that. And it's fun to be a little bit more at the helm, not that like we didn't share captain responsibilities before, but it's like remotivating. I was telling Kirk Werner the other day, I was like, I might be more hungry for a four-way right now than I've ever been in my life.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant. Are you changing slot as well? Everybody's changing? Or?
Everybody's changing slots. So I'm going to move back to outside center. And I flew there for a while when I was on Turbo back in the Carolina days. So like late 2000s through 2014, before I went to Rhythm. Carl's going to be on the point. Keith is moving to inside center, and Chris Webb's on the tail.
Nice. Okay. You as well as four-way, you really love your big way stuff as well.
Oh yeah, so much. Actually, it's really funny. I have like a bunch of these little the big way guys on my desk. I was just drawing up some 20 ways and stuff. I really enjoy big ways. Like so many things, like the fact to get 100+ people together and create something, the logistics that go behind that, like it really is the definition of like a big team environment and all accomplishing one goal. So from an organizer standpoint, like it's super rewarding. And I remember my first world record in 2017, maybe the 3.215 way. I was like, man, we need to be able to do more 200 ways in the future. So I kind of took that upon myself, and I was like, well, what can I do to make that happen? And I was like, okay, I want to make things more accessible to people, give new and younger jumpers the opportunity. So I've kind of created my own big way school called All American Big Ways, and
am I allowed on them or not? Because I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Come on.
Even though I'm a Brit.
Yeah, for sure. All America is just like, like hardworking, that like kind of
okay.
That word.
I did wonder if I would be kicked out.
No, we are all nations welcome for sure, everybody.
Right.
And so we do some big way camps and to like get people involved and get them more excited about big ways. And I think it's starting to make an impact, and we're seeing big ways on the rise, which is fantastic, which is what we want to do. I've been out and I've worked with Dan a couple of times, and he's come to my event as well. And then he just asked me to be a power play captain, which is like super. I was very humbled and kind of taken aback. I was like, you really want me to come be a captain at power play? He was like, absolutely. So that's super cool, and I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I've worked a couple of the 100-way events with him, the 100-way camps that they do out there, and it's super cool to see the community like come together. Like Dan and I working together more. The Chris and Joey from Airspeed, they're starting to do some more big way stuff as well. So
Yeah.
all of us, I mean, everyone's main goal is just to get more people doing it and build the skill level so that we can do more cool, more difficult, intricate, bigger things. And it's really, really cool to see that in the United States. Like we really work with each other. Like I talk to Dan, like, I don't know, probably twice a week about people and events and things. And it's cool. I'm really, really excited to see the connection happening and everybody working together for a common goal.
Brilliant. Have you got any plans to visit this tunnel in Abu Dhabi?
I would love to, actually. Yeah, man, we've been talking about that. My old teammate Andrew and I have been talking about bringing a group over there for a couple of years, and then obviously COVID put us on hold. But it is definitely in the works. We would like to do something at the end of 2022, kind of like when all of the stuff in the US slows down a little bit, and then take a group over there. But I just saw the 20-way and 22, I think that they were doing over there.
Martial stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just in Egypt with Martial,
Yeah.
and then he went straight to Abu Dhabi, and man, it's awesome. Like my mind just opens up. I'm like, look at all the cool stuff we can do. So it's super exciting. Yeah.
It just came up in my Facebook memories today. 2 years ago today, we were in there doing, I think there was 15 of us. We just all rocked up, some friends, and it's a good toy. It's cheap as well because you divide it between 20 people.
Yeah, right. That's great. I'd like to bring a couple of 8-way groups over there so we could do like the full dive pool, like 14s and 20s and 21s, all that. That'd be great to get reps on, you know.
So how did you get into all this flying, Doug? Are you from a family of skydivers or aviators or what?
Yeah, my dad's a jumper, so I'm second generation, and he started jumping when I was probably 5 or so, and I would just go to the drop zone with him. That was kind of our thing. We would bond and drive to the drop zone and hang out for the weekend and camp. We actually did some like Mr. Douglas boogies back in the day. And we had this old white Toyota pickup, and we would drive it and then sleep in the back of the truck. And yeah, it was awesome. You know, it was a super cool thing to share with my father, and he still jumps and he comes to my events and does stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Yeah. A very cool thing was that, so he took me on my first 2 tandems. And then when I was getting my tandem rating, he was an evaluator in the course. And then I took him on 2 tandems through the course to get my rating. And that was super cool. That was like a very memorable thing for me.
Absolutely fantastic. That is so cool. That is really very special indeed. Which drop zone were you going to with your family when you were younger?
So we moved around a little bit. So we went to a lot of different drop zones. We started at Maytown with Dave DeWolf way back in the day.
Yeah.
And then we were in Georgia and a drop zone called Air Adventures in Rome. It's not there anymore. I think there's somebody still at that drop zone, but it's not the same family that owned it. The Griffith family, I believe, they were the ones that ran it. And then we moved to Maryland and we went to Hartwood and then Chambersburg and Gordon Reiner's place in Delaware, I'm pretty sure. So we kind of like did those 3. But Chambersburg is where we kind of settled when we lived in Maryland. And that's where I started jumping too.
Did you know you were going to jump from an early age? Was it something you wanted to do, or how did
it was? It's definitely something that I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to be like career. But actually when I first started, like when I was younger, I saw some Norman Kent videos. And I wanted to be a videographer, and I would actually like take my friends to the pool and like make them launch exits off of the side of the pool, and then I would be the videographer, and then they would like be underwater, and then I'd pretend to film them from above. But in college I started competing more. Like we had a club at Virginia Tech, and I've always played sports and been competitive. I played football and I wrestled for like my whole life. And yeah, in college, then we got into 4-way, and I knew about 4-way and all that stuff. And then I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do for sure.
Yeah. And did your family have any aspirations for you to take a different career, or was it all just cool, no problem?
um, in the beginning, it was a little bit challenging that I stopped going to college and was going to pursue a professional skydiving career. My dad was more supportive than my mom in the beginning. But my mom was just worried. She was like, I just want to make sure that you can take care of yourself and all that stuff. And it was a grind for the first, I mean, it still is a grind. It's always a grind. But after the first couple of years, they came around to it a little bit more, and they have been supportive. And, you know, without support of family and friends and things like that, like, I don't think any of us would be able to do this. So yeah, they're supportive now for sure, and very, very proud. So
what do you think you might have done as a career otherwise? What would have been your alternative, do you think?
I was studying civil engineering in water resources, so like designing wastewater treatment and water treatment plants, things like that. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very cool, and especially at that time, like the whole world was kind of getting more into like renewable stuff and how we can you know, better treat the environment. And there's a lot of cool things happening with disposing of waste for water treatment plants, and I really thought that was cool, things that they were doing.
Yeah, it's funny that, well, you mentioned Pete Allen, and he's looking quite heavily into sustainable skydiving, how we can make our sport, you know, something which can carry on into the future without destroying the planet. It's interesting, isn't it, how we have that double-edged thing going on?
Yeah, I think Pete's has shared this, but there's a company in California that has done a couple of test flights in an all-electric caravan.
Yeah.
So I don't know how realistic that is, but it's cool to see right now that people are starting to think about that stuff.
And how are you doing now, Doug? I mean, are you still getting aches and pains, or are you fully recovered, or what?
That's like the question everybody asks.
Yeah.
You
must feel it still, eh? You gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, I still have all the metal in my right leg, so I have 4 plates and 30 screws still in my right leg. And yeah, unfortunately, it is a little bit of like a new normal. You know, I'm never gonna feel the way I did. Some days are worse than others, but I mean, you just like push through it. It's not like debilitating or anything like that anymore. Just like, that sucks, like my ankle will get tight and things like that, but you just deal with it and you move forward. Like, I know what it is, and it's also a good reminder to stay physically active and be in the gym and stretch and all that other stuff. You know, our bodies can only take this for so long, so I'm gonna do it as hard as I can for as long as I can. And you know,
good. Yeah. What canopy are you jumping down then? What are you landing?
I'm back on a Valkyrie 84.
Yeah.
But when I first came back, I was jumping like a big Sabre 2 170, and then 150, and then I think I jumped a Stiletto 135 for a little bit. But yeah, my progression was definitely slow on the way back, or on the comeback.
And one thing I always want to know is the mustache here to stay? Is it forever?
So the story behind the mustache, we grew them before 2019 nationals.
Yeah.
And then we won, and I was like, all right, well, I'll keep it for the world meet. And then the world meet got postponed.
Yeah.
So then I had to keep it for an extra year. And then I did shave it after Tanai, and I was clean shaven for a couple of months, and then I grew it back, and I don't know, I kind of like it, you know.
I did one for I did the Movember thing a couple of years ago. That comes memories. When I see it, I'm like, whoa. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people, after I shaved, I walked by people and they didn't recognize me. You know, like people I've known for 5-10 years, walked straight past them. Some guy was even asked somebody else, they're like, does Doug have a brother? Yeah, he does, but like, is that him? Like, no, he's not here. Like, that's Doug. So, but I don't know, I like it, and I think my girlfriend's cool with it. So as long as she lets me keep it.
Then you're happy. So what events have you got coming up then? Obviously, you've just been training your 4-way in the tunnel. What about your big way stuff? Have you got some coming up soon?
We do. So the year is shaping up to be pretty busy. We have a big way skills camp in March, end of March. And that's just a regular like intro to big ways or get more reps on doing big way stuff, different slots. We have a pretty cool way that we run our camps. And then we have,
is that at Rayford you're doing that?
No, it's in Sebastian.
It's Sebastian, right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then we have a full break sequential camp in April. That's like a new thing, and you know, there's the full break record that's going to happen this year in Paris, which would be cool. The 4-way, right now we're scheduled to go to the Indoor World Champion or Indoor World Cup, right? World Cup, yeah, this year
in Belgium.
In Belgium, yep. Fingers crossed everything goes well, and like travel is still good to go. Hopefully, I think it's looking better, but
yes.
You know, we'll always see. And then I do an invitational every year in Chicago, July 4th weekend, called the All American Invitational. And then Christy, myself, Dan BC, Craig Gerard, and Scott Latness are doing a 100-way in August in Chicago. I will also be at Power Play in end of June for that. And yeah, the nationals and all kinds of stuff. So pretty busy.
Brilliant. You got a great year ahead. It's good to see you, Doug. It's good to see you and have a chat with you. It really is.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a while, man. It's like trying to think of last time we actually got to talk to each other. Yeah,
it is. I mean, that's what's happening now with these chats. You know, because of COVID, it's been at least a couple of years since I've seen most people. So it's good to catch up and see what's going on. But I'll let you get on with your day. Thanks very much for joining us, Doug. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Regan.
You take care. See you soon, pal.
Yeah. Bye.